Okay, so you're now engaged in a course. It's called MAP, so it's a management course. And tell me a little bit about how long you've been in the program and what are some of the things you're getting out of the program.
I started the program this past December, so 7 months now.
Mhm.
Was the first course. So I think the first portion of the program we did had a lot to do with building the team and kind of getting some tools to think about developing people underneath you to kind of come up to get people to come up to kind of get to my position. Kind of basically the idea is I want to elevate myself into a higher position. In order to do that, I need to make sure that I'm developing people to come up to take my position, because I'm not going to be able to get a promotion unless there's somebody there to step into my role.
Mhm.
So I move up with you.
Mhm.
So that was a good thing. And then the second portion of the program we did was more about how you think, like how we think ourselves, and that was really interesting. Being able to get the part where kind of you get the left brain, right brain kind of stuff that we went over, and that was really interesting. To kind of gives you some perspective on how I think. It's kind of subconscious, so you don't really think about it. It kind of gives you a little feedback on insight, I should say, into yourself and how you think, and it kind of gives you areas where your strengths and areas where you have deficiencies. It kind of gives you something to focus on and what to work on, which that was a really interesting portion of the program.
Okay, and then the people who report to you, how have they responded to some of the changes you've made?
Really well. I have a couple of people that I think that I've kind of given them a little bit more freedom to do things without me kind of hovering over them, telling them how to do things. And I think that a couple of people have really grown well in they're kind of, I can see them coming up into a bigger role, which is a really good thing. Whereas maybe before this I was maybe more controlling and more try to tell people every step of the way. And then this has kind of gotten me to understand that that's one thing that I do have a problem with, is I have a lot of control issue. So I like to tell people exactly every step of the way, because I like to make sure things are done exactly my way. So it's been, having that perspective has given me an idea. All right, maybe I should back off and just say, all right, this is what I want done, and then I can kind of walk away for a little while and see how they do it without me, telling them how to do it, and let them figure it out for themselves and let them do it their way. And I kind of see at the end that the results are fine. I don't need to babysit people. It's good to see where your strengths and where your deficiencies are. And that's something that you don't really give a lot of thought to, especially in the industry that we work in. It's time. Things have to get done right now. So you're not thinking about developing people that often. That's one big thing for us, is we don't develop people to work on their own. It's time. It's like, we got to go do this right now, get going. You don't give people as long a leash as you probably should to make mistakes and to learn. Because you need to get things done right now. So this is kind of maybe say, all right, we need to. It's also important to develop people into a role where they can think for themselves, and other people can. If the company's going to grow, we need more people to manage other people, and just the natural progression of things like that. So to say, all right, sometimes you got to scale back. You don't have to get everything done right now. Sometimes you got to take the time to develop the people, and that's something we don't necessarily do a great job of in our industry. So this has been a really good experience to kind of get all of us, there's quite a few of us from the company doing that, thinking, all right, we have to do a better job of taking time to develop people, not just always production, but you have to step back and make sure you take the time to develop people, so that the company can continue to grow. The company's not going to continue to grow if you don't have competent people to step into more leadership roles.